Taiwan. I'm Jaime Ocon with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Leading Taiwanese tech figures have reportedly advised President Lai Ching-te not to reveal his hand too early when negotiating with the United States. A meeting at Lai's official residence included the likes of Acer founder Stan Shi and reportedly a senior TSMC executive. Taiwan's government has been scrambling to respond to U.S. President Donald Trump's 32% tariff on most of the country's goods, a policy Taiwan says is strongly unreasonable. The cabinet has also confirmed that Joseph Wu, Taiwan's top security chief, is in Washington, D.C. for talks through special channels. Now, in light of Trump's sweeping tariffs, the cabinet has also met with the central bank and finance ministry to discuss how to safeguard the economy. It's already announced a $2.6 billion package to support local firms. But will this be enough to protect the nation's prosperity? For more, Joyce Sung spoke with Xu Wentai, an economist at Academia Sinica.
Can you break down for us what kind of position Taiwan is in to negotiate with the Trump administration on these tariffs?
I mean, I've heard lots of criticisms on our government because our politics is very divided. But I have to say that lots of criticisms are actually not fair. Let's just say the very, very big picture is that you just put Ukraine in the perspective. What Trump did to Ukraine is ugly. How? Because it's like you can totally just like say, okay, if you don't listen to me, right, I'm gonna just pull out all my security support. The Taiwanese, of course, you kind of wonder like, what's the morality of this president? If your security is very heavily supported by the U.S. and without their help, there's really like a very dicey situation. And how much bargaining chips do you have, right? Now, of course, people will say that TSMC and the semiconductor sector is our bargaining chips, and that is totally agreeable. And whether it was a mistake to say that the TSMC announced this big investment just a while ago was a mistake, that is debatable. The really bargaining chips here is that we are a sovereign country. For example, number one is that how much you're going to control or intervene the exchange rate, right? So that's central bank. And so that is something that, the U.S. help us to do, but we don't have to do as they wish, or we don't do as fast as they wish. And so in this case, it's like this is one of the bargaining chips.
And how urgently should Taiwan be negotiating with the U.S.?
At this point, is that this is a very big shock. The 32% is certainly unimaginable. If it's implemented, it's going to be a very big shock to the economy. Something that's very important here is that it is a matter of timing that President Lai should talk to Trump directly. Even that's going to anger China, right? But I guess, Trump is happy. I mean, China is not afraid of anyone, not even China. So if Lai is willing to talk to Trump, right, at a certain point when the government is ready, then the government should do that.
In the meantime, the cabinet has announced a support package for industrial and agricultural sectors. For now, Taiwan's most valuable sector, chips, are exempt from these tariffs. But for non-chip sectors, what can they do?
So this is very unfair to them. And they're facing very big obstacle here with the tariffs. Trump is using their trade deficit, our trade surplus, right, to calculate the tariffs. But most of this trade surplus is created by the ICT industry and the semiconductors. So who got hurt the most is those non-chip industries and non-ICT industries. Number one is that the government has to bring this tariff down one way or the other. That's the bottom line. Second is that, of course, right now the firms understand the risk of exporting to the US. They will have to look at other markets such as Japan and Europe. The rest of the world have incentive to collaborate, right? So you have to really expand their mutual trade other than the US.
That was Xu Wentai, a Taipei-based economist at Academia Sinica. More than 1,000 demonstrations took place Saturday in cities across the United States against President Donald Trump and his ally Elon Musk, the world's richest man. The day of protest was called Hands Off, a reference to the more than 200,000 government jobs that have already been cut in the name of efficiency. Demonstrations were also held in several European cities, mostly attended by Americans living abroad. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society has released a video taken from the cell phone of a paramedic found in a mass grave in Gaza. The footage appears to contradict the Israeli military's account of the killing of 15 Palestinian aid workers on March 23rd. The video shows a fire truck and clearly marked ambulances driving at night with their red lights flashing. The location and date of the video have been independently verified. The Red Crescent and the United Nations say Israeli soldiers targeted the emergency workers, whose bodies were found last week. The Israeli military previously said soldiers opened fire when their position was approached in the dark by unmarked vehicles not using lights. At least 18 people have been killed in a Russian missile attack on a residential area in Ukraine. The dead include 9 children. The attack took place in the city of Kryvyi Rih, the hometown of Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Local emergency services said at least 50 people had been injured. Russia's defense ministry said the attack was targeting a military gathering, but Ukraine's military rejected this explanation as misinformation. Taiwan's defense ministry is currently conducting large-scale computer-based war games. It's the first part of the annual Hangguang military exercises, which simulate an all-out attack from China. The second part, consisting of live-fire drills, takes place in July. To learn more about the drills and how Taiwan is improving its defense strategy, I spoke to Dmitry Alperovich. He's a geopolitical analyst based in Washington, D.C., and the author of World on the Brink. When we look at how far the annual Hangguang drills have come, what are you most happy to see in terms of the improvements to Taiwan's defense strategy?
Well, the thing that I'm really pleased to see is the focus on coastal defense, the incorporation of the Harpoon anti-ship missile drills, the incorporation of HIMARS that can target ships near shore. That is really, really important. Look, the Air Force is unlikely to play a big part in a realistic war with China. The reality is the runways and the maintenance facilities and the fuel facilities will likely be the first ones to be targeted. But you can absolutely target the ships that are trying to cross the strait, the landing craft that are trying to land on the beaches and port facilities. And that is really, really important to see. Beyond that, air defense, China has the world's largest missile and rocket arsenal. So air defense is going to be very stretched. So looking how it performs in those realistic scenarios is really important.
And a big emphasis this year in Hangguang is this concept of decentralization. How important is that in terms of a conflict?
Look, most wars are not won by generals. They're won by colonels, majors. They're making decisions every single minute of every single day on the battlefield. This is what happened in Ukraine. You had a lieutenant colonel that was defending the Hostomel airport just outside of Kiev that took initiative and decided to bomb the runways to prevent the Russian airborne from landing on those runways, from being able to reach Kiev, from being able to decapitate the government. Had that decision not been made by an individual officer who had no orders to do so, we would have potentially had a very different scenario, a very different outcome in Ukraine. So being able to delegate authority to those individual commanders, not have them wait for orders, look at an opportunity, look at a target, and take decisions whether to destroy critical infrastructure that the enemy might use or whether to destroy their own forces. Very, very important. Now, at the same time, you need to have clear rules of engagement to make sure that they don't trigger a conflict by firing first. So you need to strike the right balance there.
And it looks like it's not just active soldiers that are participating in the drills, but also reservists. What role would you want them to play in an actual war?
Well, I think for the most part, you want them to play a supporting role for China to know that if they actually manage to get a lodging established on one of the beachheads, that they're going to face a force beyond just the 100,000 or so that are active duty, but potentially 1 million that are in reserves, maybe even more that could be conscripted as the threat level rises. So really, really important for them to know that this is an operation that would be the largest in the history of the planet.
That was Dmitry Alperovich, a geopolitical analyst based in Washington, D.C., and author of World on the Brink. Parts of the southern and Midwestern United States have been hit by flooding after days of torrential rain. There have been flash flood emergencies in states ranging from Texas to Ohio. At least 16 deaths have been reported since the start of the storms. The heavy rain follows deadly tornadoes earlier last week that killed at least 7 people. Here in Taiwan, 4 more search and rescue dogs are joining the force after passing their qualifying exams. Our reporter Sandy Chi was there for their big moment.
4-year-old Bagel is one proud pooch. After officially being certified as a search and rescue dog in Taiwan, she can now begin the important work of saving lives.
新的里程碑。像我们的团队在训练的基础上面是会扎得比较厚实，所以当我们的狗狗已经过了这个门槛之后，就代表我们这个狗狗在任何的救灾现场，它都可以有一个基础的搜索作业能力了。Go。
Bagel is one of 4 dogs to pass a rigorous certification exam, organized by the International Search and Rescue Dog Organization. The exam tests dogs on their ability to sniff out people buried in rubble within a certain time. Only about a third of candidates made the cut.
我其实没有想到说这次的考试难度会这么的高。那每一场考试其实它就是一个都是一个未知的情境状况。小狗有办法去克服这些状况的话，就是靠平常基础功的扎实。你要有很有计划的去安排每一个小的步骤。就算我们今天只是有一个很小的步骤，让它去快速的完成，快速得到奖励，那一点小的东西，对它在正式考试的时候都会有帮助。
Bagel and her 3 classmates bring Taiwan's total number of mission-ready rescue dogs to 56. These dogs play a vital role in search and rescue efforts, sniffing out people who fall foul of Taiwan's many typhoons and earthquakes.
那搜救犬这种东西，它是必备的一个搜救工具，所以台湾不可能没有搜救犬。台湾一年震好几次，那大地震的时候，我们平均台湾5年一次，人家可能几十年才遇到那么一次。
Rescue dogs were first introduced in Taiwan in 1999, after a massive magnitude 7.3 earthquake struck the center of the country, killing over 2,000 people and trapping many others under rubble. One rescue dog handler who came to help at the time was there to judge the competition. He says Taiwan has really improved in the past 25 years.
Definitely successful. I remember my first way to Taiwan. It was 1999. I have been here with my Czech team. I have been here as a dog handler, help your people and after big earthquake. And you didn't have dogs. And if you compare for today, you did big step.
In disaster relief situations, dog trainers say the key to success is teamwork and getting frontline rescuers and their dogs the resources they need.
那这些人他对灾害现场的了解都已经很够了，那他加上搜救犬这个部分，他能在灾场很妥善的去应用这些技术，他本身的技术叠狗的技术，去执行达成一个团队的任务。
So far, Taiwan has trained up 7 of Asia's 9 highest certified search and rescue dogs.
Come.
Now, with a mix of experienced veterans and new recruits, Taiwan's Search and Rescue Force, along with their 4-legged heroes, will continue working, training, and answering the call to save lives whenever disasters strike. Hang Shu and Sanny Chi in Nantou for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today we take you to the You Pick Park in Italy, where visitors are picking tulips. I'm Jaime Ocon. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Architecture of Taiwan, every Sunday, 7 p.m. on TaiwanPlus.